What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the quartering. Just back. Had to take the old man in for an MRI. They had to look at his ticker. Seems to be doing okay, though. I know I tweeted about that, and I wanted to give you that quick follow-up. There was an article that appeared, I think yesterday, on Wired.com, which is a website that I had forgotten existed, and a magazine that I've only ever seen at airports. Like, people leave it behind before they go on a plane. I don't know what their circulation rates are, but they were at one time some sort of relevant news source. And the other day, they wrote an article about video gamers. In fact, it actually came out today, a brand new article. And it's remarkably out of touch. One of the most maddening, incoherent, anti-male pieces I've ever read. It is one of the most ridiculous depiction of gamers, one of the most ridiculous depictions of male mental health that I've ever seen. And of course, it's written by a woman, so, I'm not sure if she knows what it's like to be a male and have mental health issues. That's pretty clear to me, unless she identifies as male, and apparently then she does. I don't know what the case is. But nonetheless, the article itself, the title tells you all you need to know. Gaming's hashtag, movement, and the tyranny of male fragility. After the passing of Zoey, ZQ's alleged bad guy, the trolls have escalated their racket, raising the question of whose mental health society tries to protect. First of all, it's remarkably out of touch. There's a lot of points in this article that are just beyond absurd that, I'm going to be kind of spicy today. I know that I've had a few milquetoast takes lately, but I'm going to try to be very simple, plain, and clear. This article is, in full disclosure, written by Lori Penny, the person who tweeted out 4 days ago that ZQ is not responsible for Alex's decision. Women aren't responsible for protecting men from consequences of their actions. It's interesting she forgot the word alleged there. It was his decision to hurt her, allegedly. Missed that part too. And his decision to hurt himself. That second part is true. Of course, that tweet didn't go over well. It was not, it did not exactly garner a ton of praise, which is surprising. But this is somebody, I assume a woman. I don't see any indications otherwise, but an author, a feminist, a nerd, extremely powerful, and has a Patreon. Also has 180,000 Twitter followers. That's strong. I have no idea who this person is, but they're far more relevant than I am on Twitter, which, congratulations, it's Twitter. Most people use it while on the toilet and to just stir things up. I don't see anything intellectual coming of Twitter, and I've basically never seen anything good come out of Twitter. If there is anything good, it's far, far, far outweighed by all the bad things. It is the home of the cancellation culture. This is also the same person that tweeted out today and then retweeted themselves. Here's a test for whether call-out culture is in good faith. A call-out is in good faith. Are you having fun? Is it humiliating the person and threatening their livelihood satisfying you? Does it make you feel good, worthy, and pure? If not, proceed with kindness and caution. If yes, stop it. Well, it's interesting because this is not in line with anything I've seen in call-out culture. Almost everything around call-out culture is designed, whether directly or indirectly, to publicly humiliate the person. The very fact that you're doing it in the public space tells you exactly what the person's intent is. Let me be very clear, Lori Penny, and anyone who would try to paint it otherwise. If your first inclination, whether it today or 10 years later, is to post about it on social media, your intentions are clear. They are to harm the other person. They are to get revenge. They are to humiliate. They are to cause their unpersoning, to do direct damage to their ability to gain employment, especially when you're talking about people in entertainment and the video game world, in particular, the indie video game scene. The very act of posting this on social media admits it publicly, okay? All call-out culture is rooted in selfishness in some way or another. Make no mistake about it, whether it is a man or a woman. The article continues. The video games industry is having their movement, and the backlash against it has been fast and brutal. I agree. Developers and creators are bravely going public. I disagree. It is not brave to tweet about something. It is not. It never was. It never will be. It's brave to take a pen to paper and write an official statement to somebody that can do something about it. Tweets are not, nor have they ever been, nor will they be, brave. About decades of bad behavior, that's not just an epidemic of men hurting women, because, of course, there's not the other way. See, quite honestly, and data does support this, the reason you hear about more women is because the culture of men having to keep this stuff to themselves. There is a culture among men that if you are somebody who's been in this particular situation, and believe me, even I have when I was in high school and dating a woman that was not good, but there's the bro culture that keeps men from talking about this. Also, men just apparently handle their business and move on. But it doesn't mean that they aren't carrying the damage with them forever. It's just that women talking about it publicly are celebrated. There's innumerable examples of this in the video game community. When you, by your nature, call the fact that they publicly humiliate somebody as stunning and brave, that tells you what lens you're looking at this through. The response has been moral outrage. Not that there's an epidemic of men hurting women. There isn't. I would guess that statistics say it's about equal, because crummy people are crummy people regardless of, you know, what their gender is. Covering for each other has been tacitly tolerated within the industry, but that women have the gall to complain. Again, no. This is, Lori, I would love to talk to you about this, because either you're just not understanding other people's perspective, or you didn't ask. Because are there people that are bandwagoning on this because they don't like ZQ? Yes, of course. They're wrong, though. I prefer people bandwagon on this because they want to remove and end cancel culture. The fact of the matter is, there is nothing brave about sharing things on Twitter, and that's what people don't like. People don't like that the very first thing you ever did about it was publicly drag somebody. People don't like that your friends, ZQ, are continuing to do so. People don't like that his ex-business partner is continuing to do so online. None of these actions will ever change what he did. None of these actions will ever stop another person from doing it. These actions will only garner retweets, clout, and fake moral high ground. By now, women and other minority people know how much it costs to confront males. The developer ZQ, who's already faced... Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. What exactly did it cost Alec? From what I can tell, ZQ's Patreon numbers increased. She gained thousands of verifiable new followers on Twitter, loads of sympathy in the public eye, and again, cash money. Alec is in the ground. So let's not talk about the costs, okay? It's remarkably insensitive and out of touch to even go down that line. We don't know. Certainly, by the way, certainly ZQ is having something to deal with here. Some hard moment, because at one point she probably had feelings for this guy. She probably is bearing some guilt. I understand that. Okay, but to act like world ends ZQ most affected is ridiculous. By now, yes, the developer ZQ had already faced some of the most poisonous online trouble. Well, yeah, as somebody who has a history of being a liar, as somebody who has gone in front of Congress to talk about video game players and gamers and lied about them, yes, you know, you can only keep spouting non-truths for so long. As far as I can tell, nobody was ever charged in anything with her. And yes, I agree that people do go too far, and there were some of that. There was certainly some of that. Goes both ways, though. Doesn't excuse it, but to act like it's one-sided is absurd and verifiably false. When the public, when she went public last week about the extensive problems she had at the hands of her former partner, again, allegations, Quinn uses these pronouns, fine, whatever. Others include Albertine Watson, who came forward about him. Like Quinn and like many others, yes, people need somebody to come forward first. Okay. Now, his colleagues in the popular game Night in the Woods were quick to cut ties with him. Enough of the things were extremely plausible, and we're just about all of it we've corroborated with other sources, wrote Scott Benson, stunning and brave, on his Kickstarter page. Got to maintain that money. I'm not going to list those out here. This isn't a trial, and we don't owe the internet a comprehensive account of why so many people have known Alec for years, have looked at these things and believed them. Well, here's an example why you might. Okay, I'm just reasoning with you here. You aren't a reasonable person. You have made his passing all about you. You've done so with a 1,000,000-word post on Medium about how you were, of course, the victim in all this. But people do wonder why you believe them. Because there is a culture. There's a literal hashtag movement around hashtag believe women. There is a movement of people that believe that no matter what is said by a female, it should be believed, and anything else is not being supportive. These are verifiable things. These are why people might be curious why you chose to believe them. On Saturday, the 31st, we know what happened. And then the article goes on here. The family's wishes have been ignored. The backlash against CQ and others has been relentless. According to the logic of concern trolls, Quinn has some hand in this. I believe she does. Why can I say something so callous? Well, let me put it this way. Had she not posted this stuff publicly, would he still be alive today? Yes. I believe that to be absolutely true. And if you agree with me, then of course there's some to blame. Now, did she, you know, is what she did directly responsible? No, of course not. It was just one of many things that led to it. But there is some blame there. It could have been handled completely differently, right? It sounds like people could have just moved on. It sounds like you didn't have a problem with it 10 years ago. There's all sorts of things, all sorts of ways that this could have been dealt with differently. They shouldn't have taken his fragility into account before, quote, ruining his life. They are worse than... Okay, yeah, that's some hyperbole. Quinn deleted her Twitter account. No, she didn't. She deactivated it. This is a common purpose misrepresentation to make her seem like a victim. She just deactivated it to take some of the heat off, obviously. And, you know, just because you disagree with somebody doesn't make them a troll. This is one of the most infuriating dismissals of criticism out there that I see often, most specifically on Twitter and in legacy media. The scale of hypocrisy here is staggering, almost impressive. I'd agree with you, but I think we're talking about different people. People, often young women, who dare to speak up can expect to face public problems. Bull. Bull. They are universally worshipped, universally believed. And oh, by the way, an overwhelming majority of them, at least lately, seem to be full of baloney. Okay? That isn't to say that everyone is, but there's been many very public outings that ended up to be complete bollocks. How about Andy Signor? How about Chris Hardwick? Two of the most high-profile ones. Okay? That doesn't mean all people are false, but it does mean that significant, or some portion of them is. So it's reasonable to ask for more information. It's reasonable to wonder why somebody's doing it publicly. I want to know what about publicly posting these things is pure and brave. Young women can expect to be punished. Yeah, ask Alec about being punished. Ask all the people who were... Ask Chris Hardwick, who nearly lost everything over lies. Ask Andy Signor, who lost everything over lies. Let's not pretend that this is a one-way street. The response to Alex throws his double standard into razor-sharp relief. The criticisms of Quinn and others has nothing to do with concern for Holaka and his family and everything to do with making examples of women. Bull. No, this is again false. World ends, women most affected. This is one of the most ridiculous articles I think maybe I've ever read. It's coming from a clear political, ideological positioning. It has nothing to do with logic or provable facts. I mean, I've given you real-world examples of men who had their lives completely ruined by false accusations. I've given you reasonable doubt for believing people's intentions when they choose to post these things publicly. But this article reads as though, well, all women are stunning and brave, should be believed, and they're the ones that suffer the most for doing so. I ask Lori Penny, what of all the men who have suffered? I'm not saying that there aren't women in this particular case in the video game community who have had problems, of course, but it's not a one-sided event. It's not a contest. The message is clear. Men's mental health matters more than women's. Absolutely, verifiably false. Look at how men are treated when they publicly come out. How about, let me give you a very good example, Lori Penny. How about... oh my goodness, it was right on the tip of my tongue. Terry Crews, how he was publicly ridiculed for coming out. Do you think that that entices more or less men to do so? Meanwhile, every woman that does it is universally lauded and praised. This article is beyond out of touch and into the realm of just lies. The fact that Wired printed this, the fact that they would talk about men and use video games to do so is ridiculous. Men suffering and self-loathing is treated as public concern. No, it isn't. It's treated as a joke. Men are told to just suck it up and move on and, you know, be a man. And most of us just are, because we're not looking for the world to save us. We're just trying to get through the day. And to use the video game community and the indie video game world to push this messaging is, of course, not new. It's not smart or intelligent. It's what we've been talking about on this channel for years. All right? It's this person really doesn't care about video games. They are doing exactly what they would call, quote, concern trolling. They don't care about his family. They don't care about Zoey. They don't care about any of this. What they care about is talking about male fragility. What they care about is talking about male video game players, the video game industry, and getting clicks. Well, unfortunately for you, Lori Penny, the archived link will be in the description below, and I will not be sending you any traffic, because why would anyone want to read something so verifiably ridiculous? I hope you enjoyed this video, everyone. We'll talk to you again real soon. I sincerely hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, before you leave, make sure you leave a like and drop a comment on it. It's the only way to help the channel grow in today's YouTube environment. Above, you'll find a link to subscribe, and make sure you turn your notifications on, or if you just want to check out another video, there's one of those up there too.